Good morning, everyone. Today is the 29th of March, Saturday morning, and I've asked a question this morning. What about our unpleasant experiences? What about our unpleasant experiences? You know, the word pleasant, believe it or not, is used over 50 times in the Bible. Psalm 16:6 says, "The lines are fallen. I have a goodly heritage. I have a goodly heritage." You know, we all have had things in our life that we did not like, we did not enjoy. We've had to do things we didn't like to do, and while we were doing them, they were very unpleasant. Okay. You know, and we're not, when that's going on, we're not quoting that verse I just read. The lines are falling unto me in pleasant places. Proverbs 2:10 says, "When wisdom entered into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul." Song of Solomon 7:6, "How fair and how pleasant art thou, O love, for delights." Proverbs 16:24, "Pleasant words are as a honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones." Proverbs 24:4, "And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches." Psalm 133:1, "A song of decrees of David. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity." Well, like I said earlier, the word pleasant is mentioned 57 times in the Bible. You know, but there are times when everything's not coming up roses. There are times when we go through things that are highly unpleasant. Okay? And, you know, how do we deal with these times that we go through that are not pleasant? Well, good times. Remember the times that we did experience pleasantness when we go through unpleasant things. We should also realize that it could be worse than it is. It could always be worse, right? It's like somebody said they didn't have one arm, and they looked around and saw somebody that didn't have either arms. Right? They couldn't hear. They looked around and saw someone that couldn't speak. They had were walking with a cane and looked around, and someone that couldn't see was blind. They were struggling with their finances and looked around with someone that was homeless. They had the flu and they looked and saw somebody that was in the hospital. You know, it's hard to remain in an unpleasant state when you're grateful and thankful for the things that are pleasant in our lives. You know, Jeremiah 12:10 says, "Many pastors have destroyed my vineyard. They have trodden my portion underfoot. They have made my pleasant portion a desolate wilderness." You know, one of the things that I must say that I think one of the ways that pastors have destroyed the vineyard and have trodden Christ's portion underfoot and made his pleasant portion a desolate wilderness is affirming the free will of man and denying the sovereignty of God. That is making Christ's way a desolate wilderness. Because it's given man glory he doesn't have, and taken away the glory of God, and not subscribing the glory of God to one that deserves it and is worthy of glory. Well, there are a lot of things in life that are not pleasant. It's not pleasant to see someone else suffering. It's not pleasant to... Death is not pleasant. Proverbs 15:26 says, "The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words." It's pleasant words to God when we ascribe him all glory, honor, and power, and wisdom, and might. It's pleasant words to him. That's why we're going to have those words on our lips when we come to stand before him. We're going to be singing his praises. Glory and honor and wisdom and power and might belong unto the Lord. The thoughts of the wicked are an abomination to the Lord, but the words of the pure are pleasant words. Pleasant words. Well, you know, have you ever had someone call you on the phone and they'll say, "I have some good news and some bad news. Which do you want to hear first?" I had to recently do that. A friend of mine, I had to give him some good news and some bad news. He said, "Just give it all to me." Just give it all to me. Well, we don't want to hear bad news. Who wants to hear bad news? Who wants to hear that someone has died? Who wants to hear that someone's in the hospital? Who wants to hear that someone has cancer, or someone has had a stroke or a heart attack? Or who wants to hear that someone is having financial problems? Or who wants to hear someone is having car trouble, or someone's pipes broke, or someone's roof is leaking, or someone is having all kind of problems with the child. Who wants to hear that? We would much rather hear smooth things, would we not? You know, the Unity Church of Christianity, they call themselves, they're not Christian, but they deny evil exists. They're living in a fantasy world, a dream world. They only want to hear smooth things. You know, being a part of the Optimist Club does not take away unpleasant things. I'm not denying that it's good to try to have a good attitude in that, but you know, sometimes walking around like in a cloud. You ever met someone like that? It's just walking around like in a cloud, into denial of reality. We're going to have to experience things in our life that are unpleasant. I'm 71 years old, and I can tell you I've probably experienced a lot more unpleasant things than pleasant things in my life. And it's how we deal with the unpleasant things that causes us to thrive. Okay, we don't laugh at unpleasant things, but we realize it could be a lot worse. Well, that's what's on my mind this morning. May the good Lord be with you today in a special way. May you have a pleasant day. God bless.